One day, you're going to pick up your random orbital sander and all of a sudden, the pads are not going to work. Hello everyone, Colin Cadet here for WoodWorkWeb. Today we're going to talk quickly about orbital sanders and how to refurbish them. And I know hundreds of you have these little sanders. They're a great little sander. Makita make them, Craftsman, DeWalt, Bosch, the list goes on. And they all work pretty much exactly the same way. And today I'm going to show you how to replace a pad on it and how to sort of refurbish your random orbital sander so you get lots more life out of it. I always think it's nice to know when something goes wrong, what it is that goes wrong. And so this is what happens. All of these random orbital sanders use pads like this, and they're all called hook and loop. And this is the loop, and these are the hooks. And here's what happens. On the bottom of the sander, you have the flat part of the sander like this. And if you look closely at them, they look like this. And if you get a magnifying glass out and look at them, that's exactly what they look like. Thousands and thousands of these little hooks. Now, when you look closely at the back of a pad of sandpaper, it basically looks like this. And it's like Velcro. It's the same principle. So when this comes in contact with this, they grab on. But what happens to the pads? These don't really wear out. I'll tell you what happens most of the time is this is just plastic, and a lot of plastic over time gets hard and brittle. And what happens one day is these little things go like this. The tops of them basically start breaking off, and in even just a few weeks they can all break off. So when this tries to match up with this, there's nothing to grab onto it, and you'll notice all of a sudden one day your pads are flipping around, and that's because it's probably a few years old and it's time to change the pad. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Here's my sander, and of course you want to make sure that it's unplugged. And when you look at the bottom of it, you'll notice that there's a screw in the bottom of it. And you'll need, depending on the brand that you've got, you'll need a special screwdriver or whatever it is to undo that. And when you undo it, it will be tight. And normally, sometimes they'll have a little clip to hold on to it, but usually you can just hold it with your hand, just like that. And in this case, I'm just putting the wrench in there, and it really takes a lot of pressure to do that, because these are attached with something to make sure that these little screws don't come out. And when you look closely at the screw, let's do a close-up of this. This blue, looks like blue paint that you're looking at, is actually a thread locking fluid that is put on. And they come in different colors, but there is a standard in the industry, and blue is used on machinery that a bolt could undo itself, and the blue is for machinery that works by vibration, which of course the sander does. So we're going to be taking this little bit of blue off of here and replacing it with some new. Now when we zoom back out, this pad now just comes right off now that we've taken the screw out. And inside is the mechanism. Sometimes these will wear out if you use your sander. If you're sanding on the edges a lot, sometimes the edges will get worn out on you too before the rest of the whole pad. But in this case, the whole entire pad, and I can feel it, that it doesn't have the bite. And we're going to open up the package and show you the new one in just a second. And here's the new package. And you'll need to make sure, you do need to make sure that you get the right one for the unit that you're using. And often there will be a model number somewhere on your random orbital sander, and you'll have to get the proper one. And you can see that these look identical. Of course, this is the new one, the darker black one. And they look identical on the front and the back. But before we put that on, you can see that this sander's been used a lot, and a lot of these sanders come with dust collectors on the back. So we're actually going to take that off, and we're going to clean. This is our opportunity. Oops, I'm going the wrong way here. This is our opportunity to give this entire sander a real good cleaning. And these will, with a little bit of effort, will just slide off. There it is. And inside, it's loaded with dust. And there's the inside of the dust collector. Now, I take and clean these every few weeks or so. And if you've never cleaned it, these are very easy to clean. You just turn them upside down, and all you need to do is tap them. You don't need to blow them out. You just need to tap them, and you can see the dust coming out of here. Now, in a moment, I'm going to take this outside and do this outside because I don't want a lot of dust in my shop. But you'll be able to see already, you can start seeing those baffles. And if you just keep tapping, it's not a dusty process, but if you just keep tapping and tapping, you're going to be amazed how much dust comes out of these little units and how much better your sander is going to work when you do that. And you need to tap on all, not just one side, but the other side, and the front, the back, the top, and you will get that very clean. I'm going to come back and show you exactly this shot and show you how much cleaner that is. And there's the difference after just a few minutes of cleaning. And you can see how these baffles are now completely free of sawdust. I've also cleaned the outside, and it doesn't look like new, but it certainly looks a lot cleaner. The next thing I'm going to do now is take the rest of the sander outside and clean it as well. And there's my two components, all nicely cleaned up. I took and just brushed them off, and you know, you can do a lot just with an ordinary toothbrush. Will get into a lot of the little corners, and then I just wiped it off with a damp cloth just to get all of the dust off, and it doesn't look like new, but it looks like it's in very good shape. Now, the last thing that we need to do before we put the new pad on is we need to take off this Loctite solution on here. And I'm going to do that with a little small rotary tool. Now, if you're using one of these little rotary tools, these little wire brushes like this, you need to make sure that you're wearing eye protection because these little wire bristles can come off of here. Now that's cleaned up very nicely. That's ready for putting back in now. And you just put a drop. That's all you need, is just a drop on your screw, just like that. And it's ready to go as soon as you put that on. So you install your new pad, and put the nut back, or the bolt back in place, and tighten that down. And what happens with this thread locking fluid, because it is deprived of oxygen in there, that's what actually activates it. And that's it. That's all it takes, and that's all ready to go. So that's got our random orbital sander all nicely put back together, all cleaned. We've even cleaned out the dust catcher in the back. The inside and the out, we've cleaned it as best we can without disassembling it. And let's do a final check and make sure that I can feel how tight it is, how it just wants to grab that. And that's working perfectly. And that's all it is. You know, as woodworkers, our tools rely on us to keep them in good shape. And we need that. We need to keep our tools in good shape because it's these guys that we rely on to help us with our project. So we really do need to keep them in pretty good condition. This was a pretty easy fix. These pads are a little over $20. And when you compare that with the price of a new random Orbital sander, this is definitely a good investment. So, thanks for watching. We ask you to go to WoodWorkWeb. We'll have an associated article that goes along with us. And if you like what we're doing here, we ask you to please subscribe to our channel. I'm Colin Canet for WoodWorkWeb. Thanks for watching.